Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice of the world. I'm Gautam Roy and coming up over the next 1 hour. India successfully intercepts Pakistani missiles. 8 missiles from Pakistan directed at Satwari, Samba, Arispura and Arnia down. India neutralizes air defense system of Lahore in response to Pakistan targeting military assets in 15 Indian cities last night. India's External Affairs Minister warns any military attack on India will get a firm response. Foreign Secretary displays image of state funeral for slain terrorists, further exposing Islamabad's terror links.
If there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response.
Donald Trump tells the world he's struck a breakthrough bilateral trade deal with the United Kingdom. Says US meat and alcohol will be fast-tracked through British customs and there will be no red tape. And Catholic cardinals elect a new pope in the Vatican. White smoke billows up from the Sistine Chapel. Going further up the escalation ladder, Pakistan launched 8 missiles targeting key areas in Jammu. That's Satwari, Samba, Arispura and Arnia this evening. However, in a swift and decisive response, all missiles were successfully intercepted by India's armed forces. According to defense sources, the attack was repelled with 0 casualties, showcasing India's robust defense preparedness and real-time operational readiness. Striking similarity to Hamas tactics was seen by Pakistan in Pakistan's attack. The visuals emerging from Jammu showed multiple low-cost rapid-fire projectiles, drawing chilling parallels with Hamas-style rocket attacks on Israel. And Pakistan's army is operating more like a terror organization as India has successfully intercepted Pakistan's missiles. This is in the Jammu area, but other areas have also been targeted. They are in Satwari, Samba, Harispura and in Arnia. These are all sectors in the Jammu region of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. These are the images that have come across in the evening, and joining me to explain them further is DD India's Akshay Dongre. Akshay, just tell us what has happened in the course of the evening and how successful has India been in thwarting Pakistan's latest attempt to hurt clearly civilian targets as well.
Back to last night when Pakistan launched attacks through missiles and drones on about 15 Indian cities that included cities not only at the LOC but also at international border. That includes several cities in Punjab, Chandigarh, Amritsar, there was Pathankot, Srinagar, Jammu. All of these cities in the north and in the western borders, there were cities in Rajasthan that were on target of Pakistan. Several missiles and drones were launched. However, because of the alert Indian air defense systems and anti-drone systems, they were all thwarted. That was a slap in the face for Pakistan. So further slap in the face was received by Pakistan when Indian drones that were launched in retaliation to last night's attack in fact destroyed the air defense system in Lahore. So people were quite shocked about the fact that army couldn't even protect their own establishments. So there were questions since today morning that were raised to Pakistani army that how will they defend the citizens, the civilians. So in retaliation, it seems today evening several missiles and drones were launched in different cities, not only in
Yes,
the north.
in the footage
but-
we're seeing explosions in the night sky. And we
can
can
you
hear
repeat that,
sirens as
Gautam?
well.
Can you repeat your question, Gautam?
Yes, I was asking you to explain, the images that we're seeing and the sounds that we're hearing, flashes in the night
Well,
sky,
that exactly
sirens
is,
blaring out.
That exactly is what I was getting at, Gautam. So after these missiles were launched, the Indian air defense system that have been on high alert ever since the Pahalgam attack, they intercepted several of these drones and they were thwarted. So all of these visuals that you are seeing with missiles coming in and then boom sounds coming in, then the light of the missile disappearing, that is all the Indian air defense systems and anti-drone systems activated and
So,
attacking
and everything looks quite dark as well. So was there a blackout too?
Yes, absolutely. There is blackout announced in several cities in the north. All the 9 districts of Rajasthan that are on the international border with Pakistan have also announced blackout. So it seems that what India was trying to avoid by doing retaliation in very proportionate manner, in very precise manner. Pakistan did not learn its language. Pakistan did not learn from what India was trying to persuade it to avoid war and act against terrorism. It has chosen the path of war, and it seems that full-blown attack has been launched at India. So proportionate attack in this manner will also be given to Pakistan. Now it remains to be seen that how Pakistan is going to defend it, because a much lesser attack could not be prevented by the Pakistani air defense systems, and in fact an air defense system of Lahore was destroyed too. Now that was the priced HQ-9 system that was given to Pakistan by China. So clearly all of the equipment that Pakistan boasts of having from China, of being world class, that is being tested and repeatedly failing at preventing either the attacks or even conducting it when it comes to missiles. So clearly an air superiority as well as technological superiority in this modern warfare has been established very early on by the Indian side, with all the attacks being thwarted and most of its attacks are being successful as far as Pakistani.
And what about these tactics that Pakistan seems to be employing, because parallels are being made to the kind of tactics that the Hamas has used against Israel?
So if you remember, Gautam, it's been some time. However, it's still fresh in the memory of almost the entire world that how 7th October attack was carried out. When it comes to either Hamas or when it comes to even several of other terror outgroups in that region, it is to overwhelm the
7th of October was an incursion coupled with rocket fire as well.
Well, absolutely. They did try to overwhelm the air defense system by launching multiple projectiles at the same time, so that to confuse the air defense system. That exactly is what Pakistan has been trying to do since last night. But because India also has a very, very good air defense cover, all of its attacks are being thwarted. However, if a proportionate attack is done by India, there is going to be a lot of devastation in Pakistani cities, and that clearly is something that India has been trying to avoid from the very beginning.
Right. And we've been also reporting about the extensive blackouts that are being carried out. You can see these images. These are from Chandigarh, which is the shared capital of Haryana as well as the state of Punjab in India, although it's a union territory in itself.
Well, there are also reports.
But
Gautam,
and these images that we're getting.
If I may come in, Gautam, here.
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, there is also reports coming in that the IPL match that was taking place in Dharamshala, which is about 80 to 90 kilometers away from Pathankot, there the match has also been stopped. So there are extensive measures that are being taken by several administrations of observing blackout, and that is what exactly the drills were about. So all of the anticipation of the worst possibility of this situation is turning out to be true, and it seems the measures that are being taken by the government for a long time are in fact yielding fruits and saving a lot of lives.
Well, right now, Akshay, we're playing out a mix of shots from, largely from the Jammu part of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, but there have been attempts of Pakistan to disrupt peace in other areas of our country as well, which is why an extensive blackout. You mentioned the IPL match in Dharamshala too. And that is in Himachal Pradesh, which is another state in the north, not too far, like you mentioned, from the international border. But clearly, no matter what Pakistan does, extensive targeting, 15 cities, military assets targeted last night as well, it didn't even graze India in any way.
Well, that's true. That's true, Gautam.
Not a
However,
scratch. Yes, go ahead, Akshay.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Gautam. Because the way Pakistan is now behaving, it seems like it's working like an extension of the terror group that it has been breeding inside its territory. A country you can only gauge the sort of the situation of the country if the army chief himself is making speeches that are on communal lines,
yes,
that are divisive, that are filled with hatred. And today in the press briefing, the foreign secretary also said that there may be a probability of a linkage between the speech that was given by Asim Munir on 16th to the attack that was carried out in India on 22nd of April. So there may be a linkage. So that was a huge statement that was made by India's foreign secretary, linking the army chief with the Pahalgam terror attack. And while there have been indications coming in, however, this was for the first time an Indian official that too at such a high stage said that they rather did not deny from there being a linkage between the army chief and the terror attack that took place on the Indian soil. So it's all but natural that India will react, India will respond to such threats to the sovereignty of the country, and that it has been doing ever since it struck the 9 targets. So if you recall, during the press conference, there were nine areas that were talked about. However, in the complete list, there were about 20. So that means that there were other areas which India was expecting Pakistan to shut itself before more action or more force could be used to shut those shops down of terrorism. So what we are seeing right now is Asim Munir has taken Pakistan for a ride now on a journey that it cannot afford to continue for a very long time. So while a country which is in deep debt is launching a war against world's 4th largest economy, that is going to be soon the 3rd largest economy, then he has in fact put a question mark on the fate of the very country, because India is going to respond. India had said yesterday, today, and it is coming from the highest level that any kind of attack or any kind of retaliation by Pakistan will be met by exact same proportion. And the wide escalation that Pakistan has put the country through, there clearly is going to be a proportionate retaliation by the Indian forces, and there is no possibility of any either equipment or even qualification for Pakistan being able to stop such a massive.
Okay, Akshay, I'm going to interrupt you because this is rather damning. What I have in my hand on my phone is a statement by the US Department of State, where it's saying that US Secretary of State, and he's the NSA as well, Marco Rubio, has spoken with Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, and in that conversation he's talked about the need for immediate de-escalation. He's expressed US support for direct dialogue between India and Pakistan and encouraged continued efforts to improve communications. Now, he's also expressed sorrow for the reported loss of lives in the current conflict. It's not specified in which country, but I'm presuming that since he's spoken to Shehbaz Sharif, it might be for Pakistan. And what is really telling is that he's reiterated his calls for Pakistan to take concrete steps to end any support for terrorist groups. So quite damning towards the end.
Absolutely damning and in fact self-explanatory that even the US government, when having any kind of conversation with Pakistan, is making sure that it reminds the country to take action, and concrete one, and not only on paper, to take action against terrorism. However, we have heard that interview of the Defense Minister of Pakistan on Sky News, where he admitted that the country has been doing dirty work and it also implicated US and UK for being a breeding ground for terrorism for several years.
And we also have information that our External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, has also spoken to Marco Rubio and discussing about this situation that Pakistan is creating, that is going up the escalation ladder even as we speak. Akshay.
Well, absolutely. We are going to that. Pakistan has in fact taken this entire conflict, which could have been ended in a concrete action by Pakistan. So clearly, what we are seeing at this point in time is India being forced into this conflict further deeper down. However, there is only small probability for a country.
Just wanted to add for the viewers, Akshay, while you speak, that these images that we're running on the screen are from Chandigarh, the Union Territory of Chandigarh, the joint capital of Haryana and Punjab, two provinces in northern India. Go ahead, Akshay.
Well, what we are seeing is precautionary measures being taken to all the cities, especially that were being targeted last night. So it's Jodhpur, it's all the cities like Uttarlai, Jaisalmer, cities like Chandigarh, Amritsar, all will eventually observe blackout because these were on target last night. These can be on target today as well. So it's all but natural for cities to observe that to ensure that we are safe, to ensure that people who are living there are
and
safe.
Akshay, another tweet that I would read out, it's by the HQIDS. You would know what that means. I'm not that conversant with military terminology, but it says military stations of Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur in proximity to the international boundary in Jammu and Kashmir.
News. Threats have been neutralized.
Yes, it's being said. It's being said. Threat neutralized by Indian Armed Forces as per SOP with kinetic and non-kinetic means. Now, please explain what that means.
Well, if you are talking about the statement that is coming in from the from the headquarters of military stations of Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur in proximity to the international border in Jammu and Kashmir targeted by Pakistan using missiles and drones. So they are clearly stating that there are no losses. Threats have been neutralized by the Indian Armed Forces as per the SOP. So when it comes to drones, anti-drone warfare was used. When it comes to missiles, our air defense systems were activated. So all kind of measures that had to be taken by either observing blackout, by either observing or rather ensuring that all the air defense systems are on high alert and are active. Every threat that was coming to the ways of Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur were thwarted off completely, and this is now an official clarification coming in from our Indian Army as well. So clearly the integrated defense staff, which is a joint staff theatre of the Indian Army, Air Force and Navy, is ensuring that the threat that was there in these cities has been thwarted. However, Gautam, I'm saying this with all seriousness, that the Indian Defence Forces and the Indian Armed Forces have been trying to avoid this, but now their hands have been forced. So this night may be a very long one for Pakistan.
Yes, it may be a long one for us as well. Akshay, you and me and all the others who are there right now and who will be coming in during the night as well to update our viewers on what is happening as far as the situation is concerned, Akshay, because if Pakistan is trying to target, despite a stern warning issued by Dr. S. Jaishankar, our External Affairs Minister, who's also spoken to US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and has been speaking to world leaders all across and burning the phone lines, explaining to them that India is not the one who has started this, but he's very well indicated that India may be the one who will finish it. Akshay.
Well, absolutely, India is going to be the one to finish it because the situation as far as Pakistan's own security has been exposed in a very, very limited and a very specific attack that was conducted in retaliation to last night's attack. It was not even an 1/10 of the attack that Pakistan has carried out today that has been thwarted off. So Pakistan could not even handle an attack 1/10 the size it has launched right now. So if there is a retaliation, there is clearly no capabilities with Pakistan to ensure that such a large attack can be avoided. So clearly, what we are going to see tomorrow after the Indian retaliation is Pakistan trying to play victim, Pakistan trying to put its own citizens in harm's way by ensuring that any kind of intelligence that they themselves leak is a wrong one to target civilians and citizens of Pakistan itself, so that it can play up that thing against India. So Indian forces will have to be careful in conducting, because we have seen in the last 20 to 30 years that Pakistan has become a master of deception when it comes to propaganda, when it comes to false news, fake news. Because if you try and open social media websites, there are a range of fake news that are being spread by Pakistan, by ISPR. So the official handle is spreading fake news. The defense minister states that Pakistan has taken prisoner of wars when they retaliated. However, he deleted that tweet after it was pointed out that it was a fake account that he was in fact reposting and it was sharing the news with. So you can understand, if the defense minister is spreading fake news and is retracting statements, then what can be the situation of common people and the members of the ISPR or their intelligence agency ISI, which is also another master in deception, known across the world for harboring terrorists and then playing victim and asking for money in exchange of acting against them. So situation remains dire and remains even more dire for Pakistani armed forces tonight.
Yes, and actually I was wondering, when this whole thing started, it started with, of course, the attack in Pahalgam, and then the LOC ceasefire violations started, and now Pakistan is trying to hit India deeper in its territory and is failing miserably. But could you tell us what is happening on the LOC now?
Well, LOC has been seeing intense artillery fire, mortar fire. There was shelling going all around. In fact, 16 people have already died in those attacks. 59 people are injured.
On the Indian side, civilians?
Yes, civilians. 16 civilians have died.
Have there been military casualties as well?
Well, there was one military casualty yesterday. That was informed by the ADGPI, that is the Indian Army communication wing. So that happened, and since the ceasefire violation has started by Pakistan, especially after India's retaliation.
And all these tall claims that Pakistan is making, I will not repeat them. They're not worthy of it. Is there any proof?
Well, Gautam, you are aware of the answer before me even telling it to you. But because of the benefit of our viewers, and in fact, even every Indian, it seems, has...
No, but we have to put it out. We have to put it out repeatedly.
Well, absolutely,
because we have to underline the kind of lies that Pakistan throws, the kind of spin doctors it has, how it tries to manipulate media. Western media has been manipulated. A section of it is playing Pakistan's tune.
Well, absolutely, it's manipulated. You can also see that they have been deliberately trying to feed wrong information. So, in another interview, the claim that was made by the Pakistani defense minister that Rafales have been shot somehow by Pakistan, when proof was asked, the Pakistani defense minister said that the proof is all over social media. And he was saying that there is proof in Indian social media as well for some reason, and that was laughed off by the CNN presenter, that was interviewer rather, that was asking him the questions. Similarly, the information minister of Pakistan today was making claims that Pakistan has never had any terrorists. Negating the claim that Osama bin Laden was killed inside the country by the US forces who entered.
Wasn't there former Prime Minister killed by terrorists? I'm referring to Benazir Bhutto. Who was she killed by then?
Well, it could be terrorists, and it might as well be ISI, posing as terrorists. So you can never be sure about that.
That's the kind of country Pakistan is.
It's a military dictatorship. No democratic government has been able to complete its 5 terms in Pakistan. So you can, only gauge the democracy index of the country that talks about democracy nowadays. However, takes permission from the military generals who control not only the land but every sort of industry in Pakistan is run only at the directives of the Pakistani military. So it's a military dictatorship. Asim Munir is a radical person who is posing as an officer in the Pakistani military. It's quite a fall even for Pakistan.
Isn't Asif Munir from Rawalpindi? Haven't we let him know that he's well within our reach?
Well, absolutely, is well within our reach, and the entire Pakistan is well within our reach. We have Agni 5 that has a range of about 5,000 kilometers. That not only brings Pakistan but also China in our range. So that's no question that the country is aware. They were actually teams, Gautam. Now, if you look at the hindsight, it seems that Asim Munir has been trying to actually gauge that how much India will retaliate and whether they will act the same way the country did it after post 26/11. But there they made a mistake.
And Akshay, this is also coming just 3 minutes ago, where Dr. S. Shankar has put out another post on social media and saying discussed ongoing developments with EUHR VP Kaya Kallas. At Kaya Kallas, India has been measured in its actions. However, any escalation will get a firm response. So that is the oft repeated refrain, and we all know what that means. With the kind of actions that Pakistan has undertaken today, it's going to see it coming to it as well.
Well, Gautam, also there is another tweet at the same time of Dr. S. J. Shankar, where he says that he spoke with U.S. Secretary of State
Marco Rubio, yes.
Secretary Marco Rubio this evening, and he says that deeply appreciate U.S. commitment to work with India in the fight against terrorism, underline India's targeted and measured response to cross-border terrorism, and will firmly counter any attempts at escalation. So there is this language that Dr. S. Jaishankar has used, which is not seeking permission, which is telling U.S. as well that it will retaliate and counter against any kind of escalation if India is forced into it, because India is not afraid of taking any measures when it comes to thwarting a country like Pakistan, which is world-renowned only for one thing, that is terrorism. So the situation remains very bad, and what we are seeing is a last attempt by Pakistan to try and check the condition of the Indian armed forces, especially the air defense systems. And now that the air defense systems have already, on the attempt, there is
Akshay,
nothing for Pakistan to do but wait.
I don't know if this is confirmed or not at this stage, but there are reports that Pakistan tonight has also employed fighter aircraft, advanced fighter aircraft from China, and it's being reported a couple of them have also been shot down.
Well, there are reports coming in, there are unconfirmed reports coming in, so we'll have to wait for an official word, because the aircraft that are being named as far as, downing are concerned is one F-16 that is near Jaisalmer, and, JF-17 aircraft as well. So it seems that we'll have to wait, but if the fighter aircraft have fallen into Pakistan, then there is high probability that we will not get to know any information, given the fact that the army will not want to admit.
Yeah, we remember what they did in Balakot.
Well, absolutely. That is what's going to happen. If the aircraft have been
they'll wipe the evidence clean.
There is only probability of them being confirmed if they have fallen into Indian territory. But also that would be surprising, Gautam, because the F-16s cannot be used by Pakistan without the permission of US. So that is a clause in any kind of aggressive manner with India. So that was, it seems, a part of the agreement. So we'll have to wait and watch that how Pakistan defends. Because if one F-16 has been shot down, then it obviously has been used for any action against India and has been shot down in retaliation. So we'll have to wait for that. But it seems that a situation the tensions are slightly slowing down as far as the areas are concerned. But one thing that has become the best news of the evening is the fact that there are no losses neither in Jammu nor in other cities, because every attempt of Pakistan to create terror has been thwarted once again. And now, there is going to be some serious consequences for this misadventure.
Yes, there is another input that's coming in from our reporters, Akshay, is that all schools will remain closed tomorrow and day after in Chandigarh throughout the Union Territory.
Well, yes, all of these measures are preventive measures that are being taken by our armed forces as well as our administrations at local level as well to ensure that any kind of danger must be avoided, especially by schools and by school children, because we have seen one thing that Pakistan is a very, very shameless country when it comes to even attacking or even operating against the enemy, because we have just seen that in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan tried and targeted a school in Poonch also, along with a Gurudwara that was also targeted and destroyed. So schools are also being targeted. There is high probability that if schools remain open, then they can be very well a target for Pakistani armed forces, the way they have been acting and supporting terrorism against one and all.
Let's just also try and run through some of the information that is coming in about which is false and just intended to spread fear and panic. One must underline that anything that you hear which seems out of the ordinary, which is coming from sources that in any way might be doubtful, should not be trusted. For instance, there are reports of suicide attack by terrorists in certain parts of the country. That's not happened. It's completely false. There is no movement of any tanks on either side. Again, that's something that needs to be underlined. Things are not escalating yet, and perhaps they won't. Hopefully they won't to that level. So in fact, all have been requested not to carry out such uncorroborated news on any of the media platforms, and we are putting that out to ensure that it doesn't happen. Akshay, a lot has been buzzing around. It's the fog that is being created by all kinds of nefarious elements across the border, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. You are absolutely right, Gautam. As far as the situation is concerned, one thing that we have to all prevent is any kind of fake news being spread and creating panic among the citizens. So situation remains tense, and we have to actively, as a part of the national broadcaster, ensure that the country is aware and the world is aware of what is happening, why it is happening, and if any kind of retaliation is given by India. So there should be an awareness around the world that why did it happen. So while doing that, we also have to ensure that attempts by ISI, attempts by Pakistani intelligence agencies, or these terror outfits, many of them have been part of some of the world's most dreaded terror attacks and have killed several innocents, are also trying to actively create panic among the people. We have seen that how Vikram Misri, our foreign secretary, when he gave the press conference first time after India's action, he said that the Pahalgam attack was also to create discord and communal tensions in the country as well, along with other motives that it had of attacking Kashmir's tourism industry and making Kashmiris suffer because of them absolutely and completely embracing the Indian way of life. Everything when it comes to tensions are concerned, everything was getting resolved. Businesses were doing well, so that was something that Pakistan couldn't take. And the attacks were to once again create tension not only in the valley but across the country.
Okay, Akshay, just to sum up what's been happening tonight itself, without going into too much of the past, because then we will perhaps just keep talking on and on. What's happened tonight is Pakistan has once again attempted to disrupt peace in India. It's tried to hit back because India has been hitting it hard. Lahore air defense system was down. Pakistan was smarting. It's tried to target multiple areas in the north of the country, particularly in Jammu, in multiple sectors. We've seen some movement in the case of Chandigarh as well, where schools have been shut for at least 2 days now. But none of these attacks, which include missiles, which may have also included jets, fighter jets bought from China, that may have been brought down as well. We're still to get any confirmation on that, and we may not have any confirmation on that as well for reasons that the planes could have fallen on the other side of the LOC or the international border. So that still remains a grey area. But otherwise, even with all that might that Pakistan can muster with the help of its friends, it's not been able to do much as far as damage here in India is concerned. There has been some damage along the line of control. We've acknowledged that. We've put it out that 16 civilian lives have been lost, at least one soldier has been killed. But apart from that, despite Pakistan trying to target India's military assets over the course of last night and even perhaps tonight, even civilian targets, nothing has happened. And India has made it very clear that if and when Pakistan tries to do something like this, a complete misadventure, a further provocation, going up the escalation ladder, India will not hold back. The response, as our External Affairs Minister said, will be very, very, very firm. Akshay, I hope I haven't left anything out. Okay, we seem to have said an inadvertent goodbye to Akshay for the moment, but we're joined by my colleague Nandita Dagar, who's been covering defense for several years now. Nandita, what do you make of the situation that we are seeing unfolding tonight, if you connect it with what happened in Pahalgam last month?
Yes, Gautam, just as India today announced to the world how it had thwarted Pakistani projectiles and missiles and drones at 15 cities and towns in India, 15 places in India. So Pakistan had to sort of save its face, and this was a face-saving measure for its own population, because it is completely, if the Pakistan army loses face, then the Pakistani state collapses. And that is why what we saw was that about 8:45, 8 missiles of Pakistan were downed by our S-400 and other air defense systems, which intercepted these 8 missiles and neutralized them. Also along the border, not just along the LOC, but along the IB in Aknoor, Rajouri, Poonch, we are seeing very heavy firing, not just by small arms, but also by mortar and artillery. The entire frontage of Indian border with Pakistan from Punjab to Punjab, Gujarat and Rajasthan is now currently under blackout, and air raid sirens have been sounded. I also want to use this opportunity, Gautam, to dispel some misinformation which is being spread by Pakistan, because in the fog of war, as you know, and in this current age of social media, Twitter and other means of communication, false and misleading rumors.
Well, I don't want to call it war yet, Nandita.
Yes, can spread like wildfire. So therefore, I want to clarify that by speaking to our army sources, I have confirmed that there are no tank movements in our planes, and also there were reports that there were 2 suicide bombing attacks on Pathankot and Jammu air bases. That also is a false and is denied by the army. But I can tell you that along the entire border in the plains in Punjab, Gujarat and Rajasthan, there are small projectiles, drones which are being fired by Pakistan, and they are being effectively neutralized by the Indian army. Also, we have come to know from our army sources that Pakistan's ISI, or Inter-Services Intelligence, which is its spy agency, met with Hamas second-rung leadership in POK last month, and that was before the Pahalgam attack. And after India has decisively retaliated and given a response, punitive response to Pakistan post the Pahalgam terrorist attack on our 26 innocent tourists.
Nandita, the other aspect is a diplomatic one. We've seen how Dr. Jaishankar has been speaking to world leaders, his counterparts as well. Even in the course of this evening, he's spoken to Marco Rubio, America's Secretary of State. He's spoken to EU's Kaja Kallas, and now he's also spoken to Italy's Antonio Tajani. He's a DPM and
Yes,
FM
you're
of
right.
Italy.
And the important thing to note in these conversations, Gautam, as you must have noted in the readouts or the press releases that have come out, is that all these countries, including some of the Gulf countries, which have traditionally supported Pakistan,
Yes,
even
but
they have
Nandita,
actually
just wanted to
voiced
add.
very strong support for India's fight against terror. And yes, they have made, they have sounded to both the countries that they want to de-escalate the situation, but they have also supported India's right to defend itself against
One second,
terrorism.
Nandita. I just want to tell you the common refrain in whatever conversation Dr. Jaishankar has had with these leaders, especially with the Italian as well as the European leader, is that any escalation will see a strong response.
Yes, that is what I was saying in the second point of my answer, that apart from voicing strong support for India's fight against terror and its right to defend the lives of its innocent citizens, these countries have also not just spoken to our foreign minister, Mr. Jaishankar, but some of them, for example, the Secretary of State of USA, effectively the foreign minister of USA has spoken to his Pakistani counterpart also and stressed on de-escalation. But as India in its press conference, our foreign ministry had held a press conference today, Vikram Misri, our foreign secretary, he said that currently, even in the first press conference, India had clarified that India is not interested, I repeat, is not interested in escalating matters. It was only a surgical, measured, methodical strike on the terrorist camps and outfits in Bahawalpur, in Muzaffarabad, in Kotli, etc. And no military installation of Pakistan was targeted. Yet Pakistan, through its projectiles, its missiles and drones, is targeting our military installations. For example, our Jammu Air Force military base, Pathankot military air base. Of course, they have been thwarted, and these the designs have been effectively been been driven to dust. But it shows that Pakistan is currently trying to show to save its face and is trying to climb the escalatory ladder. Now, if Pakistan climbs the escalatory ladder, what will India do? India had absolutely put the court in Pakistan's court when it said that we have completed our operation and we do not intend to further escalate. When these foreign leaders, for example, the EU foreign policy chief or the US Secretary of State, when they are talking to a foreign minister, Jaishankar, they are also talking to their Pakistani counterparts and stressing on de-escalation, because the world does not want another regional conflict.
There, Nandita, what Marco Rubio said, and the Department of State has put it out. He's talked about in the end of his message, he had a conversation with Shehbaz Sharif, the Pakistani Prime Minister, and he talked about Pakistan needs to turn off the terror tap.
Yes, that is a very, very significant statement, and 10 years back, it was absolutely unimaginable, Gautam, to see these kind of statements from these world powers. You know very well how US, even UK, they always did this balancing act. Even any head of state of US, UK, they used to come to India and they used to always club their visit to New Delhi with their visit to Islamabad. Now, for the past 4 to 5 years, we are seeing a very, very clear stance in the favor of India, in favor of fight against terrorism, and in absolutely unambiguous terms condemning terrorism emanating from Pakistan. This probably may have begun when Pakistan was discovered as the fountainhead of terrorism, when it aided, abetted, trained, absolutely provided logistics, safe haven, shelter to terrorists, including Osama bin Laden and people who were responsible for the 9/11 attacks. Out of those attackers, at least 5 of them had their roots in Pakistan or had actually visited Pakistan in training, training camps in this terror factory that Pakistan is. So if now Pakistan...
look at the change in America. Soon after the new president came in for his second term, we got David Coleman Headley.
You're absolutely right. And, well, Prime Minister Modi's...
Sorry, not Headley, but we got Tahir Hussain Rana, I beg your pardon.
So, sorry, obviously Prime Minister Modi's great bonhomie with Mr. Trump notwithstanding, and he being a tough negotiator, that also Mr. Trump has acknowledged. But this is something that the world, not just USA has discovered, that all major terrorists, whether it was the terrorist attack on in Indonesia, in Bali, whether it was the 9/11 attack or Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who's another huge terrorist leader, but all the terrorist leaders who were involved in the hijacking of the IC-814 Kandahar, and not just the terrorism that is being conducted by Pakistan in India, be it the 2008 Mumbai terrorist attacks, but also around the region, in Iran, in places, for example, in US, there are some terrorists who have carried out shooting in USA, in California, where the person has been found to be of Pakistani origin and has actually got training in Pakistan.
Yes.
So it is not just Pakistan being a fountainhead for terrorism in this South Asian region. It is considered to be a fountainhead for terrorism for the entire world, and that is something that the world has woken up to. And when you say that the change in presidency, yes, Mr. Biden's government was a little soft on Pakistan, but if you remember Mr. Trump's first term, in fact, he was the first president of USA who actually wrote it on Twitter in no-nonsense terms that why are we wasting our billions on a terrorist state? We wasted billions of dollars on them, and we've discovered Osama bin Laden being sheltered there in Abbottabad, another protection of the right next to the Pakistani military academy in Abbottabad, which
Yes.
is as close as, it's like discovering a terrorist outfit next to our parliament, next to our NDA academy in Khadagwasla, Pune. So if you discover that, you can obviously imagine how well protected he was, the kind of infrastructure that the Pakistani army and the ISI, and let's not go far back.
He was put in a
20 years
cocoon.
Far back. Just imagine Khwaja Asif, the foreign minister of, the defense minister of Pakistan, admitting to an interview, confessing to Yalda Hakim, who's a journalist for Sky News. He was interviewing him, and he himself said that we've been doing your dirty work. Now,
Yeah.
whether whose dirty work he's been doing is not India's business. His dirty work is affecting India for the past more than 70 years. More than 70 years, when in 1947-48, when they said that these are the tribals who entered, it was revealed that it was the Pakistani army. It was in 1965 war, 1971 war. They were
And
decisively...
Nandita, just recall for us, even if Pakistan has been doing all that dirty work for the West and has been paid off in whatever 30 pieces of gold, 30 pieces of silver, titanium, whatever, I don't know, rare earth metals for all we know, what has it got for the people of Pakistan?
The people of Pakistan currently are in a trap of the army, the Pakistani army. You know, Gautam, just as everybody on this planet knows, anybody who has an eye, who reads newspapers knows that the Pakistani government headed by Shahbaz Sharif, or be it Imran Khan or any other government, it is absolutely an impotent government. It is powerless. It is a powerless government. It is a puppet government led by the army. And if it is the army, the entire Pakistan is now begging before the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank for a few $1 billion, and just to survive on a day-to-day basis. How is it that they are getting weapons? How is it that they do not just have weapons for themselves, they have weapons for training and funding terrorists, arming terrorists in POK so that they can cross the LOC to India. So where the
funding is a very different ball game, Nandita. If you can explain that as well to our viewers. I mean, there's a whole network, very intricate network that India has been trying to break. Along with the FATF as well, grey listing of Pakistan, and yet from dummy charitable organizations to drugs and prostitution and human trafficking and whatnot, you name it, any sort of a dirty, nefarious activity, it's being used to raise money for this purpose for years.
Yes, Gautam, just remember this TRF, this resistance front is nothing. They just changed the name so that they can avoid being sanctioned by the US and the UN Security Council. We all know that the TRF is
and
nothing
Pakistan
but
tried to block that process.
Yes,
twice.
And just imagine it was helped by its iron brother China. For years, China has been helping Pakistan in not getting sanctioned. In fact, it has been countering India's resolutions when India is being supported by countries such as Russia, US, France, UK. But it is only China which is standing behind Pakistan. China is, and who is benefiting from this terrorist attack? India is poised to become a major superpower, a world power by 2047. And who does that bother? It bothers China. So it is in China's interest that let India and Pakistan get bogged down into an escalatory ladder, into a war, and let India's economy, which is booming right now, it is the only developing country with an economy with a positive GDP growth. Let India go back 20 years, decades of years if it goes into war. And so this proxy war bleeding with 1,000 cuts, 26 tourists killed now. Then you have the 2005 Sarojini Nagar and Lajpat Nagar pre-Diwali attacks. Whether you have the Mumbai attacks, you have the Hyderabad mosque attacks in 2013. So these are, I could list innumerable terrorist attacks. It's just bleeding by 1,000 cuts. And when a country like that, Pakistan, when you talked about the Pakistani army, why the Pakistani army, to maintain its relevance, it has to be it has to be showing to the people, the Awam of Pakistan, that look.
Nandita, one final question. Tell me, what are the optics of a day or at a time when India and Pakistan are confronting each other, and China, and you said iron brother of Pakistan, is its leader, its top leader, Xi Jinping, has been in Moscow telling Vladimir Putin that we should be friends of steel.
Well, China has always looked after its own interests. We all know, Gautam, that when Russia is now, there was a time before Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022 that Russia was an preeminent superpower on par with China as well as USA. But now, for the past 3-4 years, Russia has bogged down into the Ukraine war, and Xi Jinping sees it as an opportunity to form an alliance as a counterbalance or a counterweight to USA. Xi Jinping wants the interests of China served. Currently, Russia is a little brother of China. It's China who's helping Russia provide the drones and the military wherewithal to continue its sort of never-ending war with Ukraine.
Nandita, I'm afraid I'm going to have to interrupt you because we have more breaking news coming in. Vatican, there is news emerging that white smoke has emerged from the Sistine Chapel, and let's just see what is happening there. A new Pope, a leader of the Catholic Church in the world, a new pontiff has been elected by the Catholic cardinals, who could not come to agreement earlier over the course of
We're just hearing the first words of Pope Leo XIV. As he continues, we'll provide a summary here in just a moment as we listen to his words. He's asked everyone to...
Questa è la pace di Cristo risorto.
This is the peace
Una
of the risen
pace
Christ.
disarmata e una pace disarmante,
A peace
umile
that is
e
disarming and
perseverante,
humble and persevering.
proviene da Dio,
It comes from
Dio
God.
che ci
All right, so a new Pope has been chosen. We'll keep bringing you more details as they emerge. But for the moment, that's all we have for this edition of DD India News Hour. And do stay tuned for all the latest to DD India.